Checking in with you beautiful people on this Sunday afternoon. It's a great day. And I'm just checking in with you to talk about business credit. More specifically, how to get business credit without using a personal guarantee. Alright, so before we jump into it, let's talk about what business credit is. It's pretty much credit that you receive for your business that doesn't show up on your personal credit. So you got to have a business credit profile set up. Alright, and having business credit for your business is instrumental. Why? Because you want to use credit for your business on your business and not use your personal credit for your business. Because I've done that. Again, my name is Juan Pablo. I am a real estate investor full-time. And when you use your personal credit, just say a personal line of credit, a personal loan, a personal credit card, and you're using that for, real estate investing like I was doing in the beginning, guess what? That gives you a high debt to credit ratio, which can have a negative impact on qualifying for mortgages. Right? So you definitely want to use business credit because the business credit does not show up on your personal credit. Now, if you are applying for business credit with a personal guarantee, the downside to that is if you default, it will show up on your personal credit. But today I'm going to tell you how you can get business credit without a personal guarantee. So even if you do default, it won't show up on your personal credit. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about business credit, yada yada yada, before we get into what lies ahead, what's behind me. Business credit, it's kind of similar to your personal credit and how they determine your score, but it's just a slight difference. I made another YouTube video about a week ago. I made another video. It was, I don't know why I said that. It was pretty much about how the credit bureaus determine your personal credit score. And one of those factors was having a high debt to credit ratio. Okay, that can have a negative impact on your personal credit. A debt to credit ratio, like I said in the last video, is the amount of debt you have charged to a credit card relative to the maximum balance. For example, if you have a $1,000 Wells Fargo credit card and you have $300 charged to that card, your debt to credit ratio is 300 over 1,000, which is 30%. Okay, having higher than 30% debt to credit ratio can reflect negatively on your credit report. However, with business credit, they don't really care too much about your debt to credit ratio, so you can really max them out. What they really care about is having a consistent payment history. Okay, that's reflected on your paydex score. A paydex score is similar to what FICO is to your personal credit. And having a paydex score of 80 to 100, I think 100 is about the max, is equivalent to having like a 700 or so FICO score on your personal credit report. So we're going to tell you, I'm going to tell you in this video briefly, I'm not going to give you all of it, I'll tell you a little bit here and there about how you can use that to your advantage so that you can start building your credit, building your paydex score so you can get that cash that you want. Okay, so you can be like me, which is have your money team. These are my homies. For some of you see my other videos, these are my homeboys. I love these guys. Why? Because these guys make me money. Because my personal belief for debt, it shouldn't be used for consumer use. Don't use your boys, your money team, my homies. Don't use them to buy things that don't put money in your pocket. Buying shoes or clothes or vacations or what have you. Or even cars for your personal use. Don't use that. Don't use credit for that. Because you're going to have to work that off and pay for it. But when you use these boys to purchase income producing assets like I do in the realm of real estate investing, guess what? You're using these things to buy income producing assets. So it's putting money in your pocket. Alright? So that way you don't have to use your own money. Use your own money to have fun with. Use someone else's money like your homie's money, your money team, to get rich. Alright? But that's another story. Alright? That's another video. But I just want to tell you how you can get your hands on these things by applying this process. Okay? Alright, so let me just tell you some slight differences between applying for business credit with a personal guarantee and without a guarantee before we get into this. I'm just bringing this up because I feel like you should be aware of it, right? I'm all about transparency. I just want you to know the good, the bad, the ugly of everything. And your options, all right? Because that's who I am, the people's mentor. I'm here to help you out to get the financing you need, all right, to improve your personal credit. So with the personal guarantee, because you can apply for business credit with the personal guarantee, as some of you may know, it does have some advantages. For one, you can get access to these things, revolving cash credit, or in other words, as an illustration, these things a lot faster than doing it without a personal guarantee. Okay, which is about a 30-day process, which is pretty fast. So from 30 days for applying for business credit, assuming your credit is excellent, is stellar, it reaches certain qualifications, you get these boys in 30 days. You can get substantial lines up to $75,000 in a startup and about $150,000 for a seasoned business. Seasoned meaning you've been incorporated for 2 years or more. Okay, but the disadvantage is, like I said earlier, if you default on these bad boys right here, on your homies, on your money team, it will show up on your personal credit. So if you don't make that minimum payment every month, it will be reflected on your personal credit. But if you do it without the personal guarantee, you don't have to worry about that. But when you're applying for business credit without the personal guarantee, it's just a longer process. Okay? So that's kind of the disadvantage. But again, it's not showing up on your personal credit if you do default. So let's go ahead and get into that process. Since I said it's a little longer process, let's get into that. Alright, so these are just a couple things that I'll just discuss with you briefly. Because I plan on having a business credit teleconference in a week from now, so you can check it out. Alright, so I'm just going to give it over briefly, and then the teleconference will go over things in more detail, with more specifics. Alright? Compliance. To apply for business credit, your business has to be in compliance with several factors. It's about 20 factors. Again, I'm not going to list all that stuff out right now. We'll discuss it in the business teleconference, business credit teleconference, okay? But I'm just going to give you a few of the important things, just 3 of them, okay? And here's about 20, but I'm just going over 3. D&B, that's Dun & Bradstreet, which is one of the credit reporting agencies for your business. And most people are familiar with this. That's where you get a DUNS number or D&B number, whatever you want to call it. It's the same term, DUNS number, D&B number, or DUNS number, Dun & Bradstreet, whatever. You want to have that set up for your business. You also want to have Experian Business as well as Equifax. You want to have these credit profiles for your business, just like how you have for your personal. You have TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You want to have these things for your business, so that when you start applying for certain lines for business credit, they start reporting to these guys, and you start establishing a paydex score early on, and you start building upon it. So that's the first step. All right, it's having compliance. And again, we'll go over this in the business teleconference, business credit teleconference next week. We'll go into more detail in regard to how you can have your business set up and how can it be in compliance, so you can start getting business credit without a personal guarantee. Second is vendor and revolving store credit. All right, so this is one of the disadvantages, getting tongue-tied here, for applying for business credit without a personal guarantee. You have to build credit, just like you did with your personal, right? When you got a credit card in the middle of 18, you had to start making purchases and that. You have to do the same thing for your business, right? Just like it's another person. So what we start off first is you might have to start off with some vendor credit, which we normally target like office supply stores. So you might have to make a few purchases in the beginning just so they can extend you credit for your business. So you might have stacks on stacks on stacks of printer paper and file cabinets and materials that you really do not need, but you're buying it based upon utility. You're buying it for a reason. You're buying it so you can establish a paydex score with this vendor creditor. That's the sole reason. So you got to spend some money up front just so you can establish the credit history, just to reiterate it, to establish the credit history and to start building upon it. So you have to buy a lot of supplies you might not need. Well, not a lot, but you might have to pay consistently maybe $50 per vendor credit. And we have a list of those vendor creditors that we tend to target, and so we'll do the same thing for you. okay, if you decide to use our services for building business credit without a personal guarantee. All right, and again, this is independent of your personal credit, hence without a personal guarantee, just in case you guys didn't know that. Okay, so this is a 12-month process, by the way. All right, but for the first 6 months, the first month or two, you'll be targeting these vendor credit lines. Okay, and then after that, within that 6-month period, we'll tap into revolving store credit, which might be a little better for you. Depending on your business, whatever your business is, whether it's automotive, or you have your own hair salon, or you're real estate investing, property management, whatever it is, we'll target some of those places, again, revolving store credit, where you can start obtaining business credit, not business credit, sorry. You'll start obtaining credit, obtaining supplies and things like that, that may be tailored specific to your industry. For example, some of the lines that we use for the revolving store credit, Walmart, Target, Amazon. So you might be able to get some supplies that you can really use, right? Instead of using some of these vendor credits that you probably don't need loads and loads of printer paper. But you could use X, Y, and Z from Walmart or Target. So it's more favorable that you can use in your industry, okay? But just keep in mind, you'll have to make payments and purchases on a consistent basis for about 6 months. Alright, so you gotta have some cash to spend so you can start making these consistent payments, so you have your payday score established and you're building upon it. So that these vendor lines of credit and these revolving store credit card companies will start reporting to your Dun & Bradstreet, so you can start increasing your payday score. So you can get to that 80 threshold that we're aiming for. Okay, so again, first 6 months, you'll be doing that behind my back. All right. Third thing, so after 6 months, just say you're in month 7, now we'll start targeting those revolving cash credit cards, like these boys right here. Starting in month 7 to month 12, so we'll apply for about 4 rounds. Starting month 7 and again month 12, we'll apply for 4 rounds. So that's why I say here, 7 to 12 months for 4 rounds of business credit. Typically, your first round, you can receive a range. Again, results vary, okay? But typically, you can get anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 for your first round, $15,000 and $25,000 your second round. In total, at the end of 12 months, it's reasonable to achieve $100,000 in business credit within 12 months, okay? I've received in 12 months, man, I forgot, 100, it was over 100, maybe 110,000, I think, in business credit. And then again, with me, I'll also coach you on how you can increase those lines. So this is just to get you in the door, people. But once you're in the door, you increase those lines. And once you're in the door, you also incorporate in other states. Use a virtual office. Use a registered agent. So you can get even more business lines of credit. But that's just another story, you know. I'm just talking about without the personal guarantee, all right? So it is typical to get up to 100, but just to give you a range, it can be anywhere between 50,000 and 100,000 when it's all said and done. Okay, with credit, total credit you can receive. That includes vendor, that includes revolving store credit, and it includes revolving cash credit. Okay, so you can get you access to capital. And just keep in mind, like I said before, this is not dependent on your credit score. This is not depending on your payment history with your personal credit or none of that. Strictly business credit. Okay? So this is the tool you need to have. So I always am a huge proponent of keeping your personal credit looking pretty as possible. Because you might want to apply for both. Business credit with a personal guarantee and business credit without a personal guarantee. Why? Because you have more tools at your disposal. You have more money that you can use to do business with.